Welcome, my friends. Well, there is stunning news coming from Disney today. Today, we hear the news that Disney scraps plans for new Florida campus and cancels mass employee relocation. Disney will no longer be moving forward with the construction of its Lake Nona, Florida, employee campus. The company will also no longer be requiring California-based employees to relocate. The announcement comes amid a bitter feud between the company and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, centered in part around the company's special district and development plans. As you already know, Disney has cut its metaverse division as part of the layoffs that will begin this week. What does it mean for the economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But before we get into all of that, please press the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. And before we continue, a word from the sponsor of this video. Today's sponsor is InnerLife.com, creator of the InnerLife STS system. InnerLife STS is a cloud mobile platform for mental health care and its integration with primary medical care. InnerLife STS is designed for assessment, data collection and analytics, documentation, and progress tracking. InnerLife STS creates and composes conceptualized narratives and builds them into professional-grade reports. These reports are designed for use by mental health professionals, primary care physicians, justice system professionals and universities, and include mental health assessment reports, mental health treatment reports, and treatment progress reports. And InnerLife STS uses doctor-selected pseudonames for all patients. So, only the healthcare professional knows the patient identity. Disney has abandoned plans to open up a new employee campus in Lake Nona, Florida, amid rising tensions with the state's governor. Citing changing business conditions and the return of CEO Bob Iger, Josh DeMero, chairman of Disney's Parks, Experiences and Products Division, penned a memo to employees Thursday, announcing that the company will not move forward with construction of the campus and will no longer be asking more than 2,000 California-based employees to relocate to Florida. This was not an easy decision to make, but I believe it is the right one, DeMero told employees. Many Disney employees balked at the company's relocation plans when they were first announced in July 2021 by former CEO Bob Chapek. While some left the company or transitioned to other posts within Disney that would not require a move to Florida, others held out hope that the plan would fizzle out after a postponement. The campus was originally slated to open in 2022-2023, but was later delayed to 2026. Disney is headquartered in Burbank, California, but operates a number of satellite offices across the country and the world. DeMero said employees who have already moved to Florida may be able to relocate back to California. It is clear to me that the power of this brand comes from our incredible people, and we are committed to handling this change with care and compassion, he said. Disney's announcement comes amid a bitter feud between the company and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. The company filed a lawsuit accusing DeSantis and the new board members of its special district of carrying out a campaign of political retribution against the entertainment giant. DeSantis targeted Disney's special district, formerly called the Reedy Creek Improvement District, after the company publicly criticized a controversial Florida bill, dubbed "Don't Say Gay," by critics, that limits discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in classrooms. The special district has allowed the entertainment giant to effectively self-govern its Orlando parks operations for decades. The district was ultimately left intact, but its 5-member board was replaced with DeSantis picks and renamed the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. Disney filed its suit in late April after the new board voted to undo development contracts that the company said it struck to secure its investments. The company has since updated that lawsuit to include newly passed legislation targeting its monorail system as further evidence of retaliation by the governor. Iger has publicly lambasted DeSantis and the Florida government, noting that Disney has created thousands of indirect jobs, brings around 50 million visitors to Florida every year, and is the state's largest taxpayer. In a statement later Thursday, representatives for DeSantis called the decision to nix the Lake Nona campus unsurprising. Disney announced the possibility of a Lake Nona campus nearly 2 years ago. Nothing ever came of the project, and the state was unsure whether it would come to fruition, DeSantis' office said in the statement. DeMero reiterated in his memo that the company still plans to invest $17 billion in Florida over the next 10 years, including the addition of around 13,000 jobs. The company currently employs more than 75,000 people in the state. Disney declined to provide specific updates on that investment, but has previously announced plans to update park attractions, expand existing parks and add more cruise ships to its fleet in Florida. I remain optimistic about the direction of our Walt Disney World business, DeMero told employees. As you know if you follow this channel, Disney has announced thousands of layoffs. The latest layoffs were initially announced in February and will impact about 7,000 employees, according to a memo sent by Iger. The job cuts will be cross-company, hitting Disney's media and distribution division, parks and resorts, and ESPN. Since returning as CEO, Iger has reorganized the company and acknowledged that he'd consider selling Hulu. The layoffs are part of a broader effort to reduce corporate spending and boost free cash flow. Disney said last month it plans to cut $5.5 billion in costs, including $3 billion in content spend. Disney chose to rehire Bob Iger as chief executive, after receiving internal complaints from senior leadership that Bob Chapek was not fit for the job, according to people familiar with the matter. The executive change came together quickly, blindsiding Chapek and his closest allies. Disney's board reached out to Iger on Friday. The Disney board did not seriously consider any other candidates, according to sources. The board was basically convinced that Disney's disastrous Q3 earnings report was related to complaints about Chapek's leadership. Disney CFO Christine McCarthy was one of the executives who expressed a lack of confidence in Chapek. McCarthy has been Disney's CFO since 2015 and was Iger's CFO before Iger retired as CEO in 2020. Iger has agreed to be the Disney CEO until the end of 2024. Chapek had come under heavy criticism for his management of Disney over the past few years. Chapek received no advance notice that the board had replaced him with Iger. As you might imagine, Chapek and close associates were caught off guard by the news. Iger tells sources that he has been consistently hearing complaints from his former colleagues this year. Employees felt that the forced move demonstrated a level of callousness toward employees' lives. This was especially antithetical to Disney's family-friendly culture. There were some internal CEO candidates identified who might be able to take the job sometime in the future. But the board did not want to put someone new in that position right now, considering all the various pressures on the company. Disney reported quarterly earnings earlier this month, which was a disaster. The Q3 report was disappointing on profit and a number of key revenue segments. Management also warned that its strong streaming growth would likely taper off in the future. And then, the bombshell, Chapek told executives that Disney would cut costs. There would be hiring freezes, layoffs and other cost-cutting measures. And that move was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. Shares of Disney rose following the news of Chapek's replacement. Disney had about 190,000 employees at the end of Q4. Just to put that in perspective, Google has 174,000 employees. Meta has 87,000 employees, prior to the planned layoff of 11,000 people. And Twitter had 7,500 employees before Elon Musk announced a 50% layoff. Like many companies, Disney reported disappointing Q4 earnings. And who did they blame? You guessed it, the usual whipping boy, weakening macroeconomic conditions. I think that Wall Street analysts are getting tired of hearing that. Disney's streaming service Disney Plus lost $1.47 billion in Q3. But we should note that Disney Plus has accumulated 100 million subscribers in just 3 years since its inception. By way of comparison, Netflix took 20 years to build a subscriber base of 220 million. But the streaming business is overcrowded and fragmented. Disney lost twice as much on Disney Plus in Q3 versus the prior quarter. McCarthy said losses at Disney Plus will improve in 2023. According to Chapek, streaming will become cash flow profitable by the end of 2024. As you probably already heard, other large media and entertainment companies have made job cuts this year. Warner Bros. Discovery, Netflix, HBO Max. It seems that CEOs are getting the message from Wall Street analysts that the more layoffs, the more we will recommend your stock. And, I think that pretty much all big corporates have some amount of fake jobs. There is always fat and waste in corporate organizations. Disney has traditionally been a very well-managed company. And, despite its losses, Disney Plus has shown excellent growth. If it truly becomes profitable in 2024, that will be a good outcome. Disney does need to rationalize the financial picture and bring its earnings in line with stock valuation. But given the fragmentation of the streaming industry, consolidation must take place. So, Disney needs to decide whether it wants to be a buyer or a seller in that space. Given Disney's vast library of titles and ownership of ESPN, I would say that it needs to be a buyer. And Warner Bros. Discovery needs to find a buyer. I would say that Disney needs to get its share price and earnings up so that it can be something of a consolidator in the streaming space. Hopefully for Disney, this newly discovered financial discipline will help to get them where they need to be. But what do you think? Please leave us a comment below and hit the like button. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.